This is Bedtime Stories, Grown-Up Edition, Short Stories, The Stepmother, Part 3. Y'all, why my son said I look like Harriet Tubman? I'm making the video anyway. I'm pre-pooing my hair. Hair video coming soon. When we left off, training for Nigel's 5 children was underway. They were in the drawing room of the St. James family's Miami estate. The men were enjoying libations, and the women were sipping tea with Big Wood, Amir, and Selima. When the butler, Daniel, came to the door, gave Big Wood a nod, and Big Wood let Sincere out of the room. In a nearby room, there was a tailor, a barber, and an esthetician. Sincere's full measurements were taken. Then he sat down for a fresh Caesar, a facial, a manicure, and a pedicure. He asked no questions. He just went along for the ride. In his mind, he was thinking, I can get used to this. While he was being prepared to look his new part, Amir was having a side conversation in the corner of the drawing room with Saint. Amir said, when we're done here, you, I, your brother, and Big Wood are heading to Trinidad. We've got an assignment. You're going to put all of that training you've had to use. Your brother will be calling the plays. Big Wood and I will assist. And you'll have a small team to command. Saint said, let's get it, let's go. On the other side of the room, Selima was saying to Nigel's 3 daughters, the next 72 hours are going to feel like a whirlwind. You're going to laugh, you're going to cry, and you're going to learn. I'm going to chew you up, spit you out, and when I'm finished with you, you're going to hate me and love me. And if I do my job right, I'll be your favorite member of this family. Now, the competition is steep, so make sure you give me good reviews on your exit interview. Shantal said, there's an exit interview? Selima said, of course there is. And a bonus if you're all alive when I'm done. Simone said, you're getting paid to train us? Selima said, of course. The only thing I do for free is make love to my husband. And let him tell it, even that comes with a cost. I'm not your damn friend. And while we are family, this is business. I'm getting paid and so are you. Star said, oh, wait a minute. Nobody told me anything about that. How much I'm getting paid? Selima said, that's dependent on how you perform. Your focus should not be on your paycheck, though. You should be focused on surviving. Because this ain't the Girl Scouts, and it damn sure ain't going to be no cakewalk. When Big Wood came back in the room, he looked at Saint and said, you up next? Saint received the same treatment, but instead of a Caesar, he got a baldy. All his facial hair was removed, including his eyebrows. And in addition to the facial, manicure, and pedicure, his entire body was waxed. And unlike his older brother, he did not just go along with the flow. He said, what the hell is going on here? The esthetician said, we're preparing you for your job. Saint said, and it requires me to not have any hair? When he was done, a prosthetic specialist came in who taught him how to insert and remove contacts, apply and remove a false nose and cheeks, and how to apply and remove fake fingerprints. Saint said, oh, this is next level. When he was done, he looked in the mirror and didn't even recognize himself before Big Wood took him up to Catherine's office. Saint said, I want to try something right quick. Saint walked back into the drawing room, and when all of the ladies looked up, Star looked at him and said, how you doing? Saint said, that's a damn shame you don't recognize your own brother. Star said, what the hell? Selima said, you're going to have to learn to observe before you speak. His appearance may have changed, but his walk didn't. Neither did the way that he holds his jaw, or the way he scanned the room when he entered it. You're going to have to learn to recognize the small things that make each person unique. Then she looked at Saint and said, and you're going to have to learn how to be someone else, not just look like someone else. Then she looked at Big Wood and said, good luck. And Big Wood said, same. While Saint was being transformed, Catherine was having words with Sincere. She said, you did a good job of getting your sisters on board. The real work won't start for them until the semester ends. But over the next 3 days, the family will be whipping them into shape. Meanwhile, you and your brother have an assignment. While neither of you are ready to fly solo, you both have roles better learned on the job. He's going to have to put what he's learned so far to the test, and you're going to have to put your natural instincts to work. Please understand that I am not setting you up to fail. There isn't a person in this organization who has not had to be tested, myself included, and the tests never end. Right now, there are questions about whether I or Amir had anything to do with your father's death. I see the look on your face. Let me tell you that I had absolutely nothing to do with your father's death. As far as I know, that was all Jeff. But if Amir had anything to do with it, it'll come out. I'm telling you this because with 40 years in the business, I'm still under scrutiny. That means that everybody you come in contact with needs to be under scrutiny too. Don't ever get too comfortable. Don't ever allow yourself to believe that you can give anybody 100% of your trust in this business. I've created relationships with people that I trust wholeheartedly. I trust them with my life, but I trust God first, and I trust my instincts more. Believe half of what you see and none of what you hear. If you can't prove it, you don't know it. If you can't push it, pull it, or smell it, it is not real. And if it doesn't seem right, it's not. I'm sending you into an assignment where you're going to have to make decisions, and the decisions that you make could cost your brother his life. Sincere said, but how am I going to know? Catherine said, you won't. You won't know anything. You're going to have to rely on the information that you receive, your own instincts, and your brother's skills. He's going to have to rely on your observations and your inherited natural abilities. He's going to have to work together with a team, and you both are going to have to rely on Amir and Big Wood's expertise. Sincere said, well, how am I supposed to trust Amir if you're telling me that he's under scrutiny, and why should I trust you if you're under scrutiny too? Catherine said, I'm telling you that so that you'll watch your own back and you'll watch your brothers. You have to take care of yourself, and you have to always take care of those who report to you. There's a chain of command. You have a right hand, and on this assignment, you'll have two. You also have generals, lieutenants, and soldiers, all of whom are relying on you to make the right decisions, to call the right plays. But none of them are machines. They're human beings with their own thoughts, feelings, ideas, and agendas. Everybody is looking to get paid. They want promotion. They either are trying to create and establish a reputation or maintain one. And you are the new kid on the block. They're either going to try to reinvent themselves to convince you that they deserve to be in a position that they're not already in. No different than any other job. Everybody wants to impress the new boss, curry favor, and be the teacher's pet. They're going to want to figure out what makes you tick, how they can manipulate you to serve their own purpose. And they may even have someone else that they'd rather see in your position and believe that if they sabotage you, get you out of the way, they'll be one step closer to seeing that come to fruition. Don't ever get caught slipping. What I know for sure is that Big Wood is in a position he doesn't want. And he has a boss who doesn't want to be in his position either. And that means that they both have a vested interest in seeing you succeed. When in doubt, bend Big Wood's ear. I bet my life he won't steer you wrong. Sincere said, if everybody has an end goal, what's yours? Catherine said, when I was 15 years old, I agreed not to compete with my older brother for his seat at the Montclair table. I agreed to marry your father, have children with him, help him continue the St. James legacy, and build our own. I did everything that I vowed to do. The only thing I couldn't do was give him children. I knew that the future of the St. James family was dependent on him having children. As much as it pained me to know that he was making those children with someone else, I put my own preferences, desires, and feelings aside and accepted what was best for the family. In exchange for my commitment, my husband kept those children a secret. He knew this day would come, so he did the work to prepare his children for this day. And he knew who he married, so while we never discussed it, he knew what I would do. He knew that I would set my feelings and my preferences aside once again, and that I would do the work to pick up where he left off and take his children to the home stretch. He may not have told you who he really was, how he made his money, or about the legacy that you would inherit, but he made sure that you would have the skills for the job. You just didn't know it. This assignment and everything that I've said to you today is simply intended to wake up what's dormant inside you. There's a kingpin on the inside of you, Sincere, that only training under fire is going to wake up. You've agreed to accept the challenge, but you need to believe that you have what it takes. And that won't happen until you're in the woods facing the bear. My angle is simple. I need everything that I sacrificed, everything I've invested to pay off. I need it all to be worth it. When I close my eyes and I join my husband on the other side, I need to be able to look at him and say, we did it. That means that I need you to succeed. Sincere said, So I do this assignment and I handle those 7 women that you told me about. Catherine said, no, you do this assignment and you only have 6 women left. Sincere said, oh, okay. So I handle these 7 women. I go through all the training. I get crowned Kingpin. You retire. And then what? You just go away? You fade into the shadows? Catherine said, I'm not sure I know what you're asking me. Sincere said, I have a mother who I've never really been close to. My father is in a grave. My brother will be on the front lines. My sisters will most likely be in legitimate business. Who will I have if I can't really trust the people in the organization? Catherine said, you'll make friends. You'll learn who you can let in. You won't be crowned without a wife. Sincere said, say what? Catherine said, a wife is required. You can't be Kingpin without a wife. So you'll have to choose wisely. And I'll help you with that. But if you're asking me to be your stepmother, in more than name only, then I'll have you know that I'm open to that. I never thought I'd say that, but I am. Let's plan to spend time as you go through this training process. Then Catherine hugged Sincere. When the knock came on the door, it was Big Wood, Amir, and Saint. Catherine said, give me a few moments with Saint alone. Meanwhile, Selima was explaining to Simone, Shantal, and Star. All right, we're going to do this like an assembly line. It's 3 of y'all and we all female. So there is no need for you all to go one at a time. None of you have anything that the other hasn't seen. Simone, you start with the esthetician. Shantal, you start with the hairstylist. And Star, you start with the tailor. Simone said, what are we being measured for? Selima said, you each are being measured for athletic, business, and formal attire. You should be ready at a moment's notice for whatever task you've been assigned, for whatever meeting has been called, and whatever event you need to attend. Your clothes should not only fit, they should fit well, and they should fit you. Star said, I tell them that all the time, but they still going to the store and taking clothes off the rack. Shantal said, I buy what I can afford, and I don't like form-fitting clothes. Selima said, well, you don't need to walk around looking like you Amish. You can dress modestly and still look like somebody care about you. Star said, I tell her that too, but she don't listen to me. Shantal said, what exactly are you doing to my hair? Selima said, you'll all have your hair washed, treated, and cornrowed to the back. Star said, and set it off braids? What we about to do, go rob a bank? Selima said, no. You're getting ready for physical training. We don't need wash and goes, looking at Shantal, 30-inch bust downs, looking at Star, and voluminous lace fronts, looking at Simone, keeping you from busting a sweat, running 5 miles, or fighting for your life. Star said, 5 miles. Shantal said, fighting for our lives. Simone said, busting a sweat? Selima said, oh God. Meanwhile, in Catherine's office, she just finished explaining to Saint that his assignment needed to be completed before his facial hair grew back in. She said, Amir and Big Wood will let you know who your mark is. They'll provide you with all of the intel that they currently have, but you'll need to develop your own. You'll need to avoid detection, and you'll have to manage to take your mark out without drawing any attention, hurting any innocents, or compromising the members of your team. This will be the first of 7 missions, and this one will set the tone for all the others. Your mark has security, and you are not in a position to hurt them. Saint said, so how am I supposed to get to the mark without taking out the security? Catherine said, the security worked for me. Saint said, what? Catherine said, I'll explain it after you finish all 7 assignments. Saint said, does my brother know who these people are? Catherine said, yes and no. Saint said, so I'm just supposed to off some people who I don't know who they are. I don't know why I'm offing them. And they're currently under your protection. How do I know that I won't be the 8th mark? Catherine said, because I agreed to protect you. I didn't agree to protect them. Saint said, that doesn't make sense. Catherine said, it doesn't have to. Your job is not now, and it will never be, to question the boss. Your job is to execute. Your job is to trust that your boss has an end goal that will keep money in your pockets, has created a network of support that will keep you out of prison, and when it's all said and done, will reward you for a job well done. Name your rate. Saint said, what? Catherine said, your rate. How much do you want to be paid for this job and the next 6? Saint said, I don't know how difficult it's going to be. I don't know what it entails. Catherine said, you know that it needs to be done without collateral damage. You know that it needs to be done without fanfare. You know that that will require for you to get creative. You're currently in costume. You know that your transportation, your lodging, and your meals will be provided. You know that you have 3 days or less to get it done. What is that worth? Saint said, 15 G's. Catherine said, done. Saint asked, well, I'll always get to name my price? Catherine said, absolutely. And if whoever is sending you on the job doesn't ask, you volunteer it. Saint said, and what happens if I do the job and I feel like I need more money? Catherine said, you asked for it, but you better have a damn good reason why. Saint asked, and what happens if I fail? Catherine said, don't. Saint asked, why should I trust you? Why are you doing all of this? Then Catherine told Saint the same thing that she told Sincere. She chose to marry his father. She made a commitment. She honored it. And this was the conclusion of it. And when Saint asked if his mother's safety was on the line, Catherine said, you saved your mother's life when you all agreed to accept this challenge. Saint said, so you was threatening my mother's life? Catherine said, she threatened her own life when she decided to begin an affair with my husband. When he died, she had choices. She made hers, and she made the right one. Saint said, so you the reason why my mother went off grid? Catherine said, no. I'm the reason why she encouraged you to take me up on my offer. Saint asked, and what's to stop me from hurting you? Catherine said, you watched your father's video. I think he was pretty clear. After Nigel's memorial service, when everyone came back to the estate, Nigel's will was read, in which he left his children nothing. And then a video was played where Nigel explained why he implored his children to follow his wife's lead. He suggested that she be the head of the St. James family and cautioned them all not to do nothing stupid as Catherine was concerned. Saint said, I don't get it. Are you friend or foe? Is this about my father's legacy, some kind of revenge, or controlling all of our lives? Catherine said, all of the above. Let me explain something to you. I have the power, the means, and the ability to line all 6 of you up and take you all out. I've chosen to honor the vow that I made before God, and not only let you all live, but help you all and teach you all how to live well. I've chosen to set aside my own feelings as far as you and your siblings are concerned, and do what's best for this family and for the St. James organization, because I can. Not because I have to, because that's the kind of woman that your father married. If you're smart, you'll get you one. You love your mother. You should. She went through great lengths to have you. But please know, I went through great lengths to get you where you are right now. I watched you grow up. I dropped hints to your father while we never discussed his children. I talked about the traits that you can identify in children that let you know they'd make a great finisher. And within weeks of those conversations, your father enrolled you in jiu-jitsu. I dropped hints about how important it is for children to be able to speak multiple languages. And within days, your father hired you a Spanish tutor. Immediately after, a French tutor. You know ASL because of me. You know how to assemble, clean, unjam, and fire a firearm because of me. You know how to escape restraints, hold your breath underwater, plan an assassination, and survive in the wilderness because of me. You are not here right now by happenstance, nor are you here because of your father's wisdom. I had choices, and this is the one that I made. You do not have to trust me, but know that if I did not have your best interests at heart, you wouldn't be here right now. You wouldn't even exist. I let your mother live all those years ago because of you, and she's alive right now because of you. But please believe me when I say, I don't give a damn about her. I do not care if she lives or dies. I've made memories out of women for less. You're welcome.
Any points to be made, don't be scared to prove it. And you better looking good when you do it. How to move out here, you know this shit get ugly. I had to do me the dirtiest, proclaim to love me. I went through the shit and back to be kicked up and comfy. You see how hard I grind, little don't ever call me lucky.